Hey, Cody.
Hey, Faxi.
So I actually have a smart opening today.
You're using your brain for once?
I know. So, did you see that on the schedule for this weekend's British Grand Prix, there is going to be a historic car drive driven by none other than Mr. Sebastian Vettel?
That sounds great, and as long as it's not Charles Leclerc driving it.
Well, god damn it, you're awful. Did you? So somebody put two and two together. You know which car he owns, right?
I think he owns a few cars, so which one?
On September 2nd, 2020, he purchased Mansell's championship winning Williams that won the 1992 British Grand Prix, which is why I was talking to you about some of the stuff from that race.
Is that the one that was at Goodwood?
Oh, it might have been.
Because I know he was driving his own car. I hadn't seen the full updates of put. It might actually be.
I think, actually, I'm going to be surprised because if I remember correctly, I think they took the engine out of the one he got. But it would be cool if they were like, nah, here you go.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But yeah, that's...
It might be the one that Mansell was driving at Goodwood though, even if it's not the one Seb owns.
Well, when did Mansell drive that one?
He literally drove it at Goodwood like 2 days ago.
Oh, shit. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that just happened.
It just happened.
God damn it. Well, I'm sitting here being an idiot. Just roll intro, please.
Hey, at least it was a smart cold open, Faxi.
You know, it was. So fuck off. It was a cool thing I thought I'd bring up.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of myself.
All right. Well, as I say hello and welcome to the Britain Race Week episode here with the 107% podcast crew. I'm the Papaya Menace, Cody Catos Miller. And joining me as usual is Fosi fanboy himself, Faxi, the Greek spot of tea.
Top of the morning, eh, chaps?
Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Thank you all for tuning in.
Really quick. Mansell drove his Ferrari, not the Williams.
Okay. He was in a Williams race suit.
Which is kind of funny because the picture I see of him is in a Ferrari.
Oh, God. I wasn't sure what he was driving, so. But yeah, now that you're done interrupting me, I just want to say thank you all for tuning in, whether on Spotify or on YouTube. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at the 107 Podcast on all of them. Normally, I'd say what do we have first today, Faxi? But quick little thing I want to bring up, given the events in the U.S. over the past week.
Sir, that's not an I, that's a we.
Well, I wanted to bring it up. You're getting dragged along for the ride, because I know you agree with me. But given everything that happened last Friday with the Supreme Court, I just want to say, fuck you, Supreme Court. And it's
Fuck every single person who supports the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Fuck every single person who is for forced pregnancies. You do not have a home here at the 107. Get the fuck off our podcast.
Yeah, get the fuck out. Like, as usual, we do not hesitate to talk about shit, whether it's related to racing or not, about shit that we very firmly believe in that affects human fucking rights and human fucking decency. If you don't agree with us, fuck right off. We don't want you listening. Simple as that.
Side note on that, I cannot wait to see what Seb does for the U.S. Grand Prix in Austin now.
Oh, it's going to be good.
And it's going to shit right on Abbott, right in his front doorstep. For those of y'all out there, I am a Texan, unfortunately. And I cannot wait to see Vettel give him a nice German middle finger.
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm in, so I'm not too far from a state that, a lot of
we
states.
can go camping in?
Yes. Also, I'm pretty close to the Canadian border. If you need a quick little jaunt over to Winnipeg.
Oh, for poutine.
Poutine and more camping.
I mean, I have a friend that we're legitimately looking to take for a trip to go get some poutine. So,
I'd stop on my place on the way up. But Faxi, what do we have first?
I mean, God, now I'm fired up. I just love your name though from this last race. Also, apologies, we were not live last week. it was neither of ours faults. It was Mother Nature decided to shit all over Cody. So
Yeah,
our
we have
bad.
a really like particular recording schedule. Like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we're kind of like, well, shit. Um, yeah, I had a storm that was really supposed to be 30 minutes. All of a sudden, decide, hey, fuck you, we're gonna last 3 hours, have a tornado warning. Um,
45
uh,
minutes after he tells me it's a 30-minute storm, I check on him and he sends me a picture of the radar with a tornado warning. And I'm like, okay, bro, just like you need to watch your own right now.
uh, yeah, good old Minnesota weather, man. Good old Minnesota weather.
You know who would love some good old anything right now?
Uh, I mean, I think Sergio Perez will like a car that works, and Latifi might like a contract for next year, but I don't think those are going to happen.
Yo, fuck, you went there. Um, yeah, I
Well,
mean,
he's not going to 2023. He's not fucking racing, man.
allegedly. That is still just allegedly. And I will say, he did out-qualify you.
Yuri Vips has a more likelihood of racing in F1 in 2023 than Latifi does next year.
Fuck any chance of Yuri Vips racing in Formula One.
Exactly.
Yesel. Sorry, I watched Shorzy. Yeah. We had our Canadian Grand Prix. I find it really funny that Lance Stroll already has a set of stands named after him.
I don't think it's named after him. I think it's
No, it's
named after his dad.
Oh, well. No, I thought I heard it's the Lance Stroll stand.
Please, God, fuck no.
They just kind of sag a little bit. God. Hey, his qualifying position matched his number. Just do want to point out Latifi did not start last. He and that was before the penalties because he actually outqualified Yuki.
But hey, all that really matters
Is El Plan in second?
he is not Latifi.
No, he's finally not.
He is. Well, he finally finished race where he wasn't last.
Oh no, he's still Latifi. He is still classified behind Nico.
He is still Latifi in the standings, but in
Oh,
Canada, he
boy.
was not Latifi.
You scared me there. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
never
we
gonna
had
change.
we had Mac. That was a genuine clearing of the throat. That wasn't like shut the fuck up. Max obviously pole. El Plan out of nowhere, fucking getting second. I was proud of him. Fucking signs, Lewis starting to show them colors, dude.
Real talk, though? Okay.
Real
we can't
talk is
say anything.
Haas.
Haas, 5th, 6th. What the fuck happened?
They have the best boats in the business.
They have the best qualifying
In the rain.
at all.
They have the
general.
best. They have the best wet weather cars.
I think they have the biggest gap between qualifying and race pace. The race
That
pace
too.
is non-fucking existent.
That too.
But
you can't deny that. Also, shout out to Guan Yu Zhou out qualifying Valtteri. 6/10 up in Q2.
Yep.
Knocked Valtteri out. And then like Albon trying to pull a George starting 12th. And then we got to the race.
Was there a race?
I had to.
I mean, you had Checo go out on lap 8 with gearbox failure. Mick in the same fucking spot goes out 10 laps later.
Mick's got some of the worst luck.
Yeah. I have to say, though, the thing that was kind of the most like, yikes.
Yuki coming out of the pits.
You keep coming out of the fucking pits, man.
So I usually watch those little compilations Formula One puts together, and yeah, a lot of them are reruns of clips I've already seen 1,000 fucking times, mixed with something new. They already have Yuki coming out of the pits as one of the top 5 pit exit accidents.
It was just like we were all watching it, just going, "The fuck, Yuki."
He fucking licked the stamp and sent it all the way into the turn 2 wall.
Yeah,
I was proud of him. I truly was. And technically on track, Latifi was not last Tifi. He was technically qualified, or he technically finished ahead of Magnussen.
that's why I said he wasn't last Tifi at Canada.
Yeah, I'm surprised by 9 seconds. Didn't Magnussen keep having wing issues?
Well, Magnussen had an extra pit.
That's right, but still couldn't catch fucking Latifi. Fucking Lando.
I think he also had a slow stop.
Yeah, Lando was a lead balloon. Didn't I name Gasly as my fucking dark horse?
No, that was Baku.
Okay. Gasly 14th. Albon, okay. Seb, Daniel, the fuck. Lanceth and Stroll got a point. I could hear you seething from here whenever we read that on the screen. Valtteri and Guan Yu Zhou having a nice little race for 7th. Probably the person I feel the worst for, even more so than Mick, is actually going to be Fernando, just because the engine issues put him all the way down to 9th. Have you heard anything about him swapping engine parts for Britain?
On who was that?
Fernando.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about.
Because he was definitely, that straight line speed was screaming something's wrong.
Yeah.
Especially with Esteban finishing 6th.
It was definitely a rough one.
And I'm sorry, Lewis's charge last year at Brazil has ruined these last to first runs for me, because I look at Leclerc finishing 5th after starting in the back, and I'm like, you didn't do shit.
I will say the gap last year for like Red Bull and Merc to the rest of the field is so much bigger than like Ferrari, Red Bull versus the rest of the field. Like,
fair.
Like if we're talking like performance level, like if Merc and Ferrari last year were 10s, like the next highest was McLaren at like a 6.
Where would you put him at this year? Probably closer to a 7-8.
But, I'd probably put them. It's not that I would put. It's more of not only are the top cars not as like crazy. There's not as much of a gap, but like I don't know. Like minus honestly, Williams and Aston Martin.
Which we'll get to Williams
later. You don't really have like, even that they're not like in comparison towards like the best teams, there's not as big of a gap. Like last year it was full 0 to 10. Now it's like 0 to like 7 for range.
Very fair.
As evidenced by like how realistically anyone can score points this season besides fucking last Tifi.
And speaking of range, that fucking home on the range where Max just is starting to run away with that points lead right now.
Yeah, it's getting real interesting.
49 points ahead of the Montagast.
Checo DNFing though makes that second place really interesting between Checo, Charles, and George.
Yeah, George definitely starting to poke his head in there. If Carlos wasn't having such a crappy... If he didn't love gravel so much, he could be in third, even second.
Yeah.
And if Charles didn't have reliability issues, he would easily be contending.
Mm-hmm.
But, we can't say anything because Red Bull's not really known for reliability. It is still very much up in the air, but Max is starting to show that he has all of the ability to be a back-to-back, and seeing Sergio finish second is going to make my heart so happy.
Honestly, I like seeing new champions, so I would love to see Perez
Oh
or
my God, a
or
Perez
George
championship, I would
or
shit myself.
Charles.
I would sit here in my chair and shit myself. Also, your boy Lance is tied for 17th. Congratulations.
We don't talk about it.
Nice little gap between Esteban and Fernando still.
Yeah, there's
39
a
to
pretty big
18.
gap from like 9 to 10.
Well, Fernando kind of did have a crappy little bit going there. I feel like I don't blame Pierre for being down in 11th as much as I
No.
blame AlphaTauri just was not on par with this new car.
No, not by any means. And they really don't seem to be adapting anything. Like there's not any movement. Like
And I hate, as
my
crappy as it sounds, I feel like because the car's doing so bad, it's making Yuki look better. Better cars will show the gap between drivers.
I'd say Yuki looks great, and then we get to Canada and top 5 pit exits. And I kind of go, well,
I've never really seen Yuki on Pierre's level, which, by the way, I did see. Gasly has signed with AlphaTauri for next season. Legitimately, Q Shock Pikachu face.
yeah.
He is. He deserves a better ride. I realize he's already fucked around and found out with the Red Bull ride, but the maturity he's shown with AlphaTauri over the last few years, getting the win at Monza,
Honestly, there isn't a spot for him.
there isn't, and it sucks. I would love to see him come stateside.
Well, let's say that. I mean, I think AlphaTauri can be good, as we saw last year.
Oh, they absolutely can.
I think my kind of hypothetical scenario is what happens. Let's say Lewis retires end of this year. We assume Piastri takes Latifi's spot because that's the most likely.
Well, I mean, that's going to happen. We're expecting...
What?
Well, we'll talk about that later.
Assuming no other moves, because there's not really anything else that's super, like, we assume Seb re-signed. You know, everything else will probably stay pretty status quo. Minus maybe Mick, but I don't see that even happening. Who takes that seat at Mercedes?
I mean, if that happens, the silly season is going to blow up. Kind of on that 3 days ago, Planet F1 saying Aston Martin are trying to lock up Seb long term. That goes against some of the theories that I saw that I was also floating of Seb's retirement, which would pave the way for Schumi to come into Aston Martin. Because
I don't see Seb retiring.
I mean, apparently not. You know what? I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. So
who replaces Lewis? Because if we're talking with Mercedes, generally liking to have British or German drivers.
Well,
historically.
Hold on. I have somebody who's not either of those. This is my if Lewis
award.
Well, no. This is my legitimate thoughts, not even trying to be the goofy side for once. If Lewis retires, like we get to the summer break and he says, I'm done at the end of this year. And, okay, I actually have to check one thing. Well, let me hear your thought on it first, because I need to check one thing on this.
Are you checking his contract?
I'm checking somebody's contract.
Is it Lando Norris?
I'm checking somebody's contract.
I'm
just going to keep saying
through
somebody.
2025.
Not him. Okay, I was looking at somebody else. So here's my theory, and I think a lot of money would have to be thrown around to make this move happen.
Yeah.
And this is strictly saying, okay, what Formula One driver would replace Lewis?
Yeah, because we could because you get into the hypothesizing like Nick DeVries and stuff
Exactly.
like that.
That was the name that came to mind.
Yep.
But my thought is the immediate domino effect would happen of Lewis retires, and then you bring in the guy who was the reserve driver before he went to Alpine, and that just gave away who it is.
Oh.
Yeah. You bring in Esteban, though he is signed with Alpine through 2024, though money makes anything happen, and I could see Mercedes throwing a shit ton of money at Alpine and saying, "Hey, he raced for us, we would like him." And then once that
He
domino
also
fell,
has the Toto tie.
that too. Plus, once that domino falls, Alpine then look at AlphaTauri and say, "Hey, Gasly, come wave the French flag for us."
Or why would you do that if you have... At that point, does Piastri even go to...
Yes.
Still?
Piastri will still go to Williams.
Piastri goes to Williams. You get Williams Renault. And then
Exactly. You get a
once
French flag
Alonso
at Williams.
retires...
Oh my God. Can you imagine an all French Alpine? Can you imagine how much the French would riot if we had a Gasly Piastri 1-2 at Paul Ricard?
No. Do you want to see a real riot? Bring a race back to Hockenheim. Mick Schumacher wins his very first race with Seb Vettel in second.
Oh my
At
God.
Hockenheim.
Adopted father leads adopted son to the win.
You can't tell me that would be absolutely insane.
That'd be pretty baller. I'm not going to lie.
Or Daniel winning Australia.
Oh my God. The dream. The absolute dream. One thing I did want to touch on, just talking about the fall of AlphaTauri. I just kind of going back to that. I would like to see them do better. I mean, yeah, last year they finished 6th, and this year they're only in 7th. That's cool. But then you look at the gaps, and I think that's the problem. There is such a gap between 6th and 7th where Alpha's sitting, who is fighting with Alpine for 5th, back to Alpha, who are only holding 11 points over Aston Martin, whereas last year they were the ones in 6th with the huge gap to Aston Martin while they were biting the heels of Alpine. So it's a lot bigger than one place. There's an entire river between the two.
Completely agree.
It hurts to see.
I know we definitely got a lot of, there's that hypothetical announcements that could happen with all of that. That would definitely cause a huge chain of reaction of stuff. But I know you have an announcement that is expected here shortly.
I'm surprised you actually add this because you don't let me put speculation a lot in the news, which that's okay. That's okay. It's looking like some of the sources, and the only reason why I'm putting
Engine Mode 11.
Engine Mode won't say it unless he's got credible. I did not have time to look up where his sources were, but yeah, how'd you know I got it from Engine Mode?
Because I've also seen it.
Oh yeah. Apparently, it's looking like on July 7th, we are expecting the announcement of Porsche and Red Bull partnering, with Porsche supplying the engines for, I believe, the 2026 engine overdue. Okay, yeah. And something else I kind of dug up as I was reading, their parent company, Volkswagen, is already technically working with Red Bull in rally car. And rally right now is in their own transition. I think this is, I know this is the first year they're running hybrid engines over there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's already a partnership. So it makes more sense for Volkswagen to also make the move into Formula One if they're already working on something hybrid related. Yes, it's with the Volkswagen brand, but it makes sense. Okay, let's get our luxury high performance brand in a luxury high performance racing series like Formula One. So it only makes sense to me.
Yeah. And kind of tie into that, because it's related to the kind of World Council meetings and all that with the FIA. They actually announced today some key changes to the regulations for this year.
Oh, hit me.
They've updated regulations regarding car limitations during tire testing. The timing of pre-event media activities. It takes place within a 2-hour window, 23 hours prior to the start of FP1. They've updated the tests for rear wing.
Okay.
Fuel can be chilled at hotter races.
That makes sense.
They have updated regulations regarding mirrors to allow greater rearward visibility.
Good.
They have made it so a power unit can be replaced in Parc Fermé with one of a newer spec. And temporary repairs can be made to power units.
Also want to add on to what I put too. I did a little extra digging. Red Bull Racing News Twitter, which they have a pretty good pulse on everything that has to do with Red Bull. A press release was already planned for the 6th of July. This is 6 days ago that they put this. Press release was already planned for the 6th of July. It would not only be announced that Porsche would join Red Bull as an equal partner, but also would lead the project on a Porsche side as CEO of a new Formula One company.
Okay.
And then there's a whole string of tweets that kind of go into it. And then talking about how there's a lot of speculation, which we're already kind of seeing it. A lot of the works teams are kind of getting iffy about Volkswagen jumping in. But, I mean, that makes sense. It's a big pot of money, and now you're having to share it 11 ways instead of 10.
Yeah.
I don't blame it.
You want to know something else about the meeting that happened?
A video I just found of Daniel Ricciardo trying to break into an AlphaTauri debrief.
That's normal.
I'll send you the link because I know you love Daniel.
Updated 2023 regulations.
Yes.
Show only 3 sprint races.
Thank God they did.
That's not even the craziest part. FIA has approved qualifying format where only hard tires permit for Q1, only mediums for Q2, and only softs for Q3.
What?
And it's
Where's
set
your
to be
source?
trial. Philip Horton, who is a journalist for fucking the Times, New York Times.
When did this break?
This morning. So I had some stuff I was saving for you. So I want to see your reaction.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
It's set to be trial at 2 GPs to assess for 2024 and beyond.
So they're going to trial at 2 in 2023, and then if they like it, it'll go in for 2024.
Correct.
Wow. I like that. Ooh, I like that.
I think it'd be really cool because there are cars that work really well with certain tires and really poorly with others.
This is going to be interesting.
I think that could get some really, really interesting things.
And then obviously wet rain. Yeah, let me get some of that dry rain. Yeah, the wet qualities are going to throw the rules out.
Yep. And then speaking of tires, Pirelli has come out and said they will introduce a stronger front tire in 2023 to kind of help reduce the understeer that drivers seem to be experiencing.
I mean, yeah, especially I know the video game tries to run as close to real life. That oversteer coming out of the corners though is fucking real.
Yeah. And then I know I brought this up a little bit, but when we were talking before the recording, F1 and ESPN are going to renew their contract for media rights through 2025 for between 75 and 90 million a year. Do you know what it currently is, Faxxi?
How much is it?
Take a guess.
Wow, it's only 5.
God damn it, motherfucker.
Sorry, I was actually pulling up some news because you had that highlighted for me, you little shit.
Yeah, well, you're slacking. So.
Well, no, I was ready. I had all the info.
I know.
So something interesting on this that I'm actually reading up on. Comcast, Amazon, and Netflix had also submitted bids.
Yep.
Probably the thing that I don't like and I'm a little worried about, a bulk of races set to air on air on linear television, with some to be streamed exclusively on ESPN Plus. Fuck you, ESPN. Stop paywalling fucking races. I think that's bullshit. I would be mad if I was Formula One.
Well, it could have been Amazon offered $100 million a year for it to be a full streaming.
Still, I'm like,
Yeah, but that's such a huge increase. That shows so much.
I mean, it's that American money. I mean, and going back to the man that I obviously fanboy, he was doing a Q&A, and I point blank asked him, what do you think of the rise of American fans and the American viewership and involvement in Formula One? And he's like, overall, it's a positive. I really hate all the people that just hate on the Drive to Survive folks. Which, it's funny that Drive to Survive is now getting ready to, or it's already starting to tank because it's getting too sensationalized. Which, speaking of, I have a little news on that.
Ooh.
Yeah, this one I did not send over to you. And I want to talk about this before we get into the serious shit. Did you know that at the Canadian Grand Prix, there was actually a little bit of a heated argument between the bosses?
Principals. Yeah, I heard about that.
Did you hear who was talking the most about it to the media?
Isn't it fucking Horner?
It's that fucking lad Gunter fucking Steiner. Gunter actually said it was Horner and Wolf that were the most vocal during and it was called a row, so you know it was real. But yeah, apparently the Netflix cameras were present when it happened, so you know we're going to get a big old slab of that next year on Netflix.
It's not Netflix. It's actually NBC reality shows that make presidents.
Get out. You know who else needs to get the fuck out? That was a good segue.
Well, one of them actually did get the fuck out and is no longer allowed back in the paddock.
Although he was never in it. He was never really going to it to begin with, but I'm glad to see he has
he still had the ability to. Because I know he'd go to Interlagos. If you're not up to date, we are not going to say the name of either of them because fuck them fuckers. Max Verstappen's girlfriend's dad, a very notable racer from Brazil, was had a little bit of a, I don't want to say mess up because it definitely wasn't a fucking mess up. It was completely intentional. Saying a slur in a podcast referencing Lewis Hamilton that came out after the 2021 British Grand Prix, and everyone decided to say they stand with Lewis, all that jazz. No one specifically condemning said shitty old driver for his terrible fucking behaviors, which is just unfortunate. And then a certain F2 driver who was part of the Red Bull Junior team, keyword was, and currently, unfortunately, drives for High Tech, decided to say the English translation of said slur of, hanging out on Liam Lawson's Twitch stream while they played some Warzone. And for
idiots.
For some godforsaken reason, High Tech decides that we're going to let him drive. It's fine. He can race again. And F2, the actual championship, it said, posted, it said, following the recent incident involving this motherfucker, F2 would like to reaffirm that the use of racist or discriminatory language cannot be tolerated in any environment. High Tech Grand Prix decision today is surprising, not one we have taken. We will monitor the situation carefully to ensure that such behavior is properly addressed. Fuck you, FIA. Do something about it. Fuck you, High Tech, for allowing him to drive. And fuck you, said driver, for fucking saying that shit.
I hate to say it, and I said it before. FIA have precedent with not doing anything. As you saw what they did with the Spinny Boy.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty shocked at that announcement they put out.
The fact that they said something, like,
it's grandstanding. That's all it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just grandstanding because they could remove him.
Mm-hmm. I hate High-Tech's statement. I have made a decision to keep this motherfucker, or made a decision for this motherfucker to keep his F2 seat with High-Tech for the remainder of the season. A decision we have seriously debated. Allowing him to complete the season with High-Tech is an opportunity for him to demonstrate through his actions the type of person he is. I've made clear that I think the language used was totally unacceptable, but I choose to give him the chance to redeem himself.
We won his sponsorship money, even if it's not Red Bull money. That's all it is.
There's more. You see the second page of the statement?
I'm actually seeing the statement for the first time. Let me read this real quick.
High-Tech GP employs inclusive workforce has never condemned racism or offensive behavior in any forms. That said, if we live in a society where no one can make a mistake, then genuinely apologize, have a chance for redemption, and learn from it. What does it say about society? I don't know why he said what he said. I don't know why he was playing and streaming COD at that time of day. Certainly, there are things that have been far more beneficial for his career. What I do know is that having his contract terminated by Red Bull as a result of his actions is a crushing experience for him, a deservedly severe punishment. The reality is that there will not be unanimous agreement whether that punishment is sufficient, and that's totally understandable. Fuck you, High-Tech. Fuck you. No. That punishment was not sufficient. He should not be in motorsport. Fuck that dude. If he can say the same thing that PK says, and they don't even allow PK in the fuck that.
I don't expect him to have a Formula One FP1 run now.
No, he won't. There's no way. Because he's not part of a junior team anymore, so no team will take him.
Yeah,
he has as good of a chance of making fucking Formula One as Roy Nissany does.
Roy doesn't use slurs. The only thing
that we know of. Apparently, all the F2 drivers seems to be a recurring trend when you have fucking Spinny Boy and then fucking.
Oh, look, Spinny Boy was a High-Tech driver.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say, yes, people need to be able to show that they have learned from their mistakes. However, yeah, no, this wasn't it. This wasn't it.
Hey, learn from your mistakes. Sit on the fucking sidelines for the next 6 months.
This wasn't it. I cannot put competent words together.
If you can't tell, I'm kind of fucking pissed off.
To express how people need to be able to show that they can change. I've had an incident like this, not on as big of a scale, but I had an incident like this happen in my stream community where somebody used the gamer word in a group chat with us. And he actually showed remorse for everything, and that, hey, I used to be a shithead. I am currently changing.
Yep.
Yuri is not showing that. He put out a half-baked apology. And if he was truly sorry, he would have said something on that stream. Whereas when the person I know said the gamer word, he immediately caught himself and left the chat because he was pissed at himself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. He can go to another form of motorsport and have his redemption tour in time.
I mean, fucking NASCAR won't take him. That's fucking NASCAR, man. The most
NASCAR
racist.
will.
No.
Okay, if that was the case, Larson would not still be driving. Sorry, not sorry.
I mean, he got fucking suspended,
and then signed to the best team.
Yeah.
And won a championship.
Yeah. True.
I hate to. God. We're worked up.
Let's talk about something a little more interesting. How about we talk about
Rossick!
Let's go.
Oh, Silverstone. What's this note that you have? Most iconic race besides Monaco. Agree. Next subject.
Yeah. Simple as that. Yeah, there's nothing more to be said. It for sure is. Where does Silverstone sit in the kind of holy pantheon of motorsports? Up there with Le Mans and Daytona and Monaco and
If Formula One, if we
and
equated
Indy and
Formula One to NASCAR races where Monaco would hold the same prestige as Daytona,
Mhm.
I would put Silverstone as the Southern 500. The old
Well,
classic track that always produces banger after banger. I
I
can't.
think
Do you agree on that one?
I gotta think about it now.
Because when you look in NASCAR terms, when I look at top races, I think Daytona. I think Southern
I
500.
disagree.
I think Brickyard. I think Coca-Cola 600. I would actually put this up there with on par. Okay, if not the Southern,
Yeah,
then the Coca-Cola 600.
I'd say Coke 600 for me is like that second tier of like obviously when
Not
you
even
think
second.
NASCAR.
That's top tier NASCAR.
No, I was talking about like if we're talking, there's the S plus tier of like there's Daytona, there's the Monaco for Formula One, there's Le Mans for endurance. That like that single race where if you ask someone to name a race, that's what they say. Something you ask someone to name a NASCAR race, they're gonna say Daytona.
Fair. Okay, I see where we're going with that, and yes, I agree with you.
So like just under it, and yeah, I think it's the Coke 600. It is it is Charlotte.
It's a good race. It's a great track. I used to hate driving on it on F1 games, but at the same time, it was always one I wanted to get better at, and now I'm okay.
Yeah. Speaking of fun games, I haven't raced on it yet, but I did race on Miami earlier today.
How bad was it?
It races really nice.
Oh, I hate you. How about How about you talk about which car is hopefully trying to race real nice this weekend at their home race?
They're gonna try. Well, but here's the thing about that. So there's a little bit of caveat. There's a huge Williams update. Kind of. So according to Chris Midland, it's be very similar to the Red Bull concept as their new design. So I'm really interested to see what it looks like. However, only one of their drivers is getting it.
You're
And
joking,
it's not
right?
Latifi.
You're joking, right?
Nope.
Poor Latifi.
Yep. Happy 27th birthday, Latifi. Oh, we're not upgrading your car.
I really hope. On the same weekend that there's the rumors that Piastri's going to be announced as one of their drivers next year.
What'd you call him? You say his name right.
Piastri.
Pastry.
Shut the fuck up. Piastri could be named a Williams driver for next year. There's the dumb rumors going around saying, oh, he's going to be in the car, but no, we would have already heard something.
Yeah.
It is, what day of the week is this? Wednesday as of recording this, and yeah, we would have already seen major news going around about this.
100%. I can't wait to see how much of a gap Albon's gonna have on Latifi.
You mean how much bigger?
Yeah. I still see how big the gap can get.
I'm just gonna go ahead and name Albon my dark horse for this weekend.
All right.
Who are you watching? Driver
Who
team.
am I watching? I'm gonna watch lap 1. Into a certain track or into a certain corner.
It won't happen again.
You can't tell it would be funny as fuck to see a repeat of Cops Corner.
Oh my god, the world would
This
explode.
it 100% would. That's kind of what makes it interesting. I think realistically, George Russell, I think has potential for a win.
Podium, yes.
Like,
Win, no.
He qualified 8th in a Williams here last year. This is a track he's fucking good at. In Q2, he was 7th. Yeah, in Q2 he was 7th. This is a track he can qualify well. For sure, my driver to watch for making something happen. My team to watch? It's going to be Haas.
Okay.
Reason being, weather update, it might fucking rain.
It's Britain. Just expect rain.
I know, but it's actually forecasted for rain. In quali and the race.
I'm showing different for the race. I'm showing only 20% chance the day of the race. But Saturday, let me look. Yeah. Best chance of rain around qualifying. So we could have a wet dry again.
Which, I mean, Haas money.
Haas's fucking yachts are going to fucking just take off. I'm waiting for the Gunther Steiner seats.
They're finally getting him out of Miami. They're going to Silverstone.
Oh, that's how Gunther did it. Driver to watch. I mean, I'm putting my driver to watch too. I'm going to go ahead and say George. I think there's a lot of pressure on him right now. I mean, he has already said on, I think it was either an official F1 news thing or it was a podcast, he expected to already be a winner by now.
Yeah.
Which I think we all expected that, let's be honest. Team to watch, I am going to go ahead and put Mercedes.
Yeah.
I feel like they really want to show up and show out at their home race. It's going to be very interesting to watch. Dark horse, obviously, Albon for me. What do you got?
Yep. Esteban.
Senor Ocon, okay.
I think make something happen.
What's your
maybe start with kind of a bottom of Q3, top of Q2 sort of thing placement.
Okay.
And make something happen. Now the fun part.
Oh God.
So podium predictions. Last race, you had George, Charles, and Max. First, second, third. That earns you a whopping 1 point.
Wait a minute.
I had Max, Charles, and Lewis. For a total of 6 points.
Oh, I had George instead of Lewis. Damn it.
The
Wait,
final
who did you
score.
hit?
Max, Charles, Lewis. I got
Oh,
first and
fuck
third.
you. You got the winner, so you caught up to me.
The updated score, 32-28.
Oh, shit. You're knocking down the door. Burning down the house.
I've already put in my predictions.
What are they?
First place, Max will not crash at cops. Verstappen. Charles Leclerc in second. And George rounding out the podium.
Put me in for George in third. I think that's the highest he gets.
Okay. Latifi to get his very first win.
Shut the fuck up. Max Sergio 1-2. Final answer.
All right. Let's see if how this will work for you.
As much as I love Ferrari, I just feel like I might have this one finally.
I want to update. I actually did not mark down points on one of yours.
Oh.
It is actually 34-28.
Hey.
Your initial 2 points.
But you're still going to jump over me, so.
I'm down 6 points.
Yeah, one good race.
If Max wins, I don't get a huge thing. The only difference is Charles. That's literally the only difference. Otherwise, we have to score those same points.
Fair.
So it's going to be a close one, I think, either way. Do you got anything else you want to add as we wrap it up here for this week?
When you're racing on F1 2022 or any of the F1 games, do you try to call out the names of the turns at Silverstone?
No. I try to hit the turns. I'm actually scared on 22 with how fucking squirrely the back end is. You might have a Max Verstappen situation every time you go into cops.
And you know what? I think I actually read they're not going to be able to plug it full straight into cops.
That's what George said, I believe.
I mean, it's such a fun track to race. I'm excited. I also can't wait to drive it. I'm probably going to fire it up. I know Emerald said she was going to fire it up to get ready for the GP. Shout out to Chainbear. He actually did a really good video talking about how tracks need to bring back naming all their turns. It adds a nice touch to it, and it helps. Because I think we only have Big Red at Coda.
You have turn 1, turn 2.
Well, that's cool. Turn 1 I've heard called the Andretti corner. I've heard it called Big Red. I've heard different names for it, but that's really the only one. Whereas, you literally look at Silverstone, I definitely know, okay, I'm on the Wellington, I'm on the Hangar, I'm on the Hamilton Straight. Here I go through Cops. Here I go through Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, Stowe, Valen Club. Hell, my favorite part of the whole track is the Wellington down to, it's Brooklands and Luffield, where they usually have the overhead camera that's able to pan through the whole thing. That is my favorite part to race to. Not necessarily going into Brooklands, because I always miss the apex and go wide, but just like add everything together, and even when you're gunning it through Woodcott onto the Hamilton Straight, it's such a fun track.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is a good race.
Honestly, I had re-downloaded F1 2019 to play some Hockenheim. Because I fucking miss that track, man. That's all I want. It's more Hockenheim.
Hockenheim was the first. No, it wasn't Hockenheim. It was the Nürburgring. That was the first track I ever raced on a Formula One game. Because it was on the demo copy of the first Formula One game for PlayStation. And it's where you had a default car, you had 3 laps, and you had to basically go last to first. And it was Schumi out front with Coulthard behind him, and then Gerhard Berger in third.
Yeah. Do you know what I have to say this year? Like looking at about like the schedule, I really wish we were racing at Portimao this year.
Portimao was beautiful.
Like, instead we got Spain.
Seriously. Just get rid of it. Give us Portimao. Is that how we're going to end it?
Yeah, give us Portimao.
Give us Portimao.
And with that, that's going to wrap up here for the Britain Race Week episode with the 107% podcast crew. I'm the Papaya Menace, Cody Cattles Miller, and joining me as usual was the Tifosi fanboy himself, Faxxi, the Greek Spotted T. Thank you all for tuning in, whether on Spotify or on YouTube. And make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at the 107 Podcast on all of them. Y'all have a good one.
Fuck racism.